June 30th, 1908. 7:17 in the morning. A reindeer herder steps outside his tent in central Siberia. The sky is clear. The forest is still. No sound. No warning. Then something appears on the horizon. A light brighter than the sun itself. Not lightning. Not fire. Something wrong. Suddenly, he is thrown backward as heat floods the air like an open furnace. A shockwave follows, so violent it flattens him to the ground. Hundreds of kilometers away, windows shatter, people fall from chairs, horses collapse, and deep in the Siberian taiga, a forest begins to fall. Not slowly, not naturally, all at once. What happened that morning would flatten over 80 million trees. And yet, no one would find a crater, no impact site, no obvious cause. For decades, there was only silence where answers should have been. And when scientists finally arrived, what they discovered would make the mystery even stranger, because nothing had hit the ground. Something had exploded in the sky. And even today, one question remains. If it wasn't an impact, what was it? To understand Tunguska, you have to understand where it happened. Central Siberia in 1908 was one of the most isolated places on Earth. No roads, no railways, no cities for hundreds of kilometers. Just endless forest, pine and larch stretching beyond the horizon. The nearest settlement, Vanavara, was 60 miles away. That morning, witnesses reported a strange object in the sky, a bright blue-white fireball, moving rapidly across the horizon. It didn't fall straight down. It traveled. Then came the flash. A burst of light so intense that people later said it hurt to look at the sky itself. Seconds later, heat swept across the land. Some believed their clothes were burning. Then came the shockwave. It arrived like a delayed punch from the sky. Windows shattered in villages far away. Doors were ripped open. People were thrown to the ground. But the real destruction was not there. It was deeper in the forest, where millions of trees were about to fall, in a pattern that made no sense. Because this was not a normal explosion, and it was not an impact. Nothing struck the ground. Something detonated above it. For nearly 20 years, the event remained unexplained. The region was too remote, too inaccessible. And soon history moved on. War, revolution, collapse. The mystery was forgotten by most of the world. Until 1927. That's when Soviet scientist Leonid Kulik led an expedition into the blast zone. He expected something simple. A crater. Every known meteorite impact leaves one. But what he found was not simple at all. As he entered the forest, the landscape became unrecognizable. Trees stretched across the ground in perfect radial patterns, flattened outward as if pressed by an invisible force from above. But there was no crater, no central impact point. Only absence. At the center of the destruction, something even stranger appeared. A small group of trees, still standing. But they were not normal. Their branches were gone. Their bark was scorched away. They stood like blackened poles pointing into the sky. Everything around them had fallen outward in all directions, as if something had exploded above them and pushed the forest away from the sky itself. Kulik had found the shape of the event, but not its cause. For decades, scientists struggled to explain what they were seeing. Theories multiplied. Antimatter, a black hole passing through Earth, a gas explosion, even alien spacecraft, but none of them matched the evidence. Eventually, modern physics and atmospheric modeling began to converge on a simpler explanation. A stony asteroid, roughly 50 to 80 meters wide, traveling at around 30 kilometers per second. As it entered Earth's atmosphere, pressure built rapidly on its surface. The object began to break apart high above the ground, likely between 5 and 10 kilometers up. Then it exploded, not on impact, in midair, A massive atmospheric airburst released energy equivalent to a large nuclear weapon. The blast wave expanded outward, flattening the forest below in a radial pattern. Everything directly underneath was scorched and stripped, while surrounding trees were pushed away like waves of storm. And the asteroid itself, it never reached the ground. It vaporized completely. Later studies found microscopic particles, silicate and magnetite spheres, embedded in the soil. Condensed remnant of the asteroid itself, cooled and scattered after the explosion. But even this explanation took decades to accept. Because Tunguska didn't behave like anything scientists were used to, the object that caused Tunguska followed a specific path, a specific angle, a specific moment in Earth's rotation. And that detail changes everything, because timing matters. For hours after the explosion, just 4 hours, the Earth would have rotated beneath its trajectory, and the same object would have entered the atmosphere over St. Petersburg, one of the largest population centers in Europe at the time. Instead of flattening forests, it could have flattened the city. The death toll would have been unimaginable. History itself could have shifted in a single morning. Tunguska was not just an explosion. It was a near miss, one we only understand in hindsight. In 2013, Earth experienced a smaller version of the same phenomenon. A 20-meter asteroid entered the atmosphere over Chelyabinsk, Russia. It exploded in midair, just like Tunguska. The shockwave shattered windows across 6 cities. Over 1,500 people were injured, mostly from flying glass. And no one saw it coming. Not a single warning system detected it before it entered the atmosphere. That is the unsettling reality. Objects capable of regional destruction can still approach Earth undetected. Scientists estimate Tunguska-scale impacts occur roughly once every 500 to 1,000 years, which means we should have already experienced several in recorded history. Most would have hit oceans or unpopulated land, and gone unnoticed by civilization entirely. In 2022, NASA's DART mission proved we can alter the path of an asteroid, but only if we see it in time. And for mid-sized objects, detection is still incomplete. Somewhere out there, objects are still moving. Quiet, dark, untracked. On June 30th, 1908, the Earth avoided a disaster by what may have been only a few hours. A shift in rotation. A difference in timing. That was all it took. Today, the forest of Tunguska has grown back. The trees have returned. But the pattern remains in memory. Because the lesson is not about what happened. It's about what almost happened. Most of space is empty, but not all of it. And the silence above us is not a guarantee. It is a delay. Because the universe does not warn us. It simply arrives.